working. Looks like my microphone is working fine. All right. Uh, Today, I'm feeling really down today. But I got cameras to play with. There is, let's see, here I am right here. I'm sitting, this up here is the microphone. That's a Yeti, is what that is. It's a big Yeti. It's pretty heavy too. It's pretty much too heavy for that stand. But it's working. These are my different monitors. Yes, I am that kind of nerd that has a bunch of monitors. And I use them all too. That's what's really bad. Like I'm using every single one of them right now. Ugh. Yeah. Let's see what else do I got. Okay, that's that view I was just talking about there, with all the monitors there. You can see, and here I'm sitting here. This is the my Yeti. It's right above my head here. Right above my head there. See what's this? What is that? That. Well, here's my headphones. So here, this view is actually up on the closet. Is what it is. If you look behind me, as soon as I bring this up, if you look behind me, there is a chainmail sitting kind of behind me, off to my right hand side. That's chainmail, and that's pretty much where this other view is coming from. Is right above there, right above that chainmail. There's another camera there. So anyway, today we're going to talk about the latest in the news. And let me go to the news here real quick. Some of it has surprised me. RFK will not shut up. I wish RFK would just shut up, but he won't do it. I don't think that's.
I published the transcriptions of a secret meeting that CDC had conducted in 2001.
Make one adjustment here. Okay. Cool. All right. See what she looks like here. Oh, it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay, well, cool. Okay, well, this is RFK. He is supposedly in the race now. He's really not in the race. There's no chance for him becoming president. Thankfully, he is Robert F. Kennedy, so he is one of the Kennedys, and this is just scary. What he's talking about here. I can't even believe that he was talking about
when
this.
They realized that that the vaccination program was linked to the epidemic of autism. Congress said to EPA, tell us what year this epidemic started, and EPA came back and said it's a red line, 1989.
It's a red line, 1989. It became an epidemic that year.
Is there anything?
This is what's scary. It's not the fact that we're talking about this. It's the fact that this was made 5 days ago. This is a brand new video. Okay, this is not something that's old. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And this is Sean Ryan Clips, episode 117, released just 5 days ago. You can see it right there.
Thing in particular that's in the media about you that's
Hey, what's up, Dave?
want to address?
Hey, what's up?
I
Not
don't
much.
know. I mean, I think the biggest sort of constant thing about me is that is my my beliefs about vaccines. And if you
And they are beliefs about why is he tearing? He has some kind of tearing issue because he's tearing here. He isn't crying, he's tearing.
ask any questions about vaccines, particularly during COVID, you were marginalized and vilified. You were gaslighted. People who were injured and who publicly said they were injured were gaslighted.
It could be the lights in his eyes too that could do that to me. Particularly, like you said, somebody's got contact or something. But I've got 244 resolution, whatever. But I can actually see the tears running down.
They were told, no, you weren't. You're lying. Doctors, scientists who tried to explore alternatives to the prevailing to the received orthodoxy. Their careers were destroyed. They lost their insurance policies, their hospital affiliations, their university affiliations, and they were vilified. And so
No, they were not vilified.
I've been going through this since 2005.
The doctor who put this out lost his medical license, not for having disinformation, but for knowingly putting disinformation in his paper.
Oh, damn.
Knowingly doing it, not for being wrong. It was for knowingly being wrong, and them being able to prove that he knew that he was wrong when he released it. That's how bad it was. And it was not peer reviewed. It was just released in some kind of magazine. I can't remember what it was, but it was not peer reviewed, and it was not. It literally, he lost his medical license for actively lying, which that's the part that just blows my mind. And so this guy is 100% behind this guy, still to this day, which is bizarre to me.
When I published in Rolling Stone an article about a meeting, I published the transcriptions of a secret meeting that CDC.
I'm actually looking it up right now, and it was Dr. Wakefield
in 2001 called Simpsonwood.
Actually, no, just Wakefield. No longer doctor.
When they realized that.
Right, which is crazy. By the way, you are on air right now, just so you know.
I know.
Okay.
That the vaccination program.
I did my own bit of research there. Just
epidemic of autism.
I wanted to look it up as well.
They had done an internal study of the largest medical database called the vaccines.
All of a sudden increase that does not take into account anything like more kids getting diagnosed. Like I didn't get. There's no way in hell I could have possibly been diagnosed in 1970 or 1970 or 1980. Now, at 1989, if I had been 7 years old or so, maybe, possibly, probably not. At best, it would have been what no, we didn't even have Asperger's until what when the DSM-4 came out. It was before 2013. But anyway, so yeah, I couldn't have even been diagnosed. So no one's going to be diagnosed before that time because the doctors didn't have a diagnosis to give us.
Yeah, actually, when I was a kid, I was not even diagnosed with autism. I was just diagnosed as on the spectrum.
Oh, you know what's interesting? I just found out. I'm a historian, and I didn't realize this. Temple identified that as she said. There's 4 autism types. There's the numbers type, the visual
Right.
type, there's another type I can't remember, and the historian type. I'm like, oh, oops, like how, because I have been so obsessed with history and so forth. But anyway, I did not know that when doctors could not, when they saw both ADHD and autism traits before the DSM 4, or yeah, no, excuse me, before the DSM 5, they could only diagnose you with autism or ADHD. Well, if they diagnosed you as being autistic, then they could not treat the ADHD.
So therefore, it got left untreated.
Well, therefore, what they did is they would diagnose all of them with ADHD because then they could at least treat the ADHD because you can't really medicate the autism. So there's a lot of diagnoses where the doctors may have known the kid was autistic, but there's no way in hell they would have ever diagnosed that kid as autistic because then they couldn't ever get treated for something that they could get treated for, the ADHD. So you're going to naturally treat them or diagnose them with the ADHD instead of the autism.
Yeah.
So that accounts for, and that was probably in 1989. I bet you if we looked it up, I bet you it was 1989. I bet you right in that area like our 88 when they started changing things or something, maybe 87, somewhere in there, one of those years. I could be wrong, but I bet you that's when that happened. And he's, if we look it up,
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, they just pretty much put me through Child Find, and that program actually determined that I was, or they wanted to send me to a psychiatrist who would charge a good amount of money, a good chunk of change just to diagnose me, but they required me to go through Child Find.
what is child mind?
It's a, I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. The Child Find Department is assesses children for special education eligibility. It's here in the Clark County School District. So yes, I did actually go through that, and I did get put into special ed.
So it was pre ABA. Yes? No?
I don't think they put me through ABA.
Well, yeah. See, okay, I didn't technically go through ABA because it didn't exist then, but all the techniques that they use in ABA, all that the same ones that you use for mind control in a lot of cases, um, all those techniques that you see in ABA were used on me. Like I've told you before, like when they tried to give me the little tokens and stuff like that, I was like,
You're like, no, fuck that.
it pissed me off. It pissed me off, particularly because they weren't trying to bribe other people. Why are they trying to bribe
Yeah,
me? And then the first time they didn't follow through, that was the end of that. Then I actively just rebelled against it and didn't cooperate with their program at all.
yeah.
And
I just
it,
sent you the link for Child Find.
it,
Find.
it,
I just sent you the link for Child Find.
scary. Maybe it's not.
Uh,
Maybe it's not. It may not be.
are you pulling it up or?
No, I'm gonna. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna pull it up on my child find. Is that one word?
Uh,
No, child find and early special education. Not now. For children's age through 3 or through 5. Child find early childhood special education. Okay, what the hell are you doing? What were you doing, Trevor?
wait, what do you mean? What am I doing?
What were you doing? Okay, so
To,
I was a little autistic ADHD kid running around the playground acting freaking weird as shit. Okay, and everybody knew it. Like everybody knew it, like except for me. I think I didn't realize it. I mean, I thought all kids were that different. I didn't realize that I was that different from all the other kids. Even though
I
I
think,
knew I was different, I thought every kid was that different.
yeah, I think that was the same thing with me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know they thought different than I did, but I figured every kid was different because every kid was, different. And so
Yeah,
I conflated the two. Is I didn't realize that no, your brain is different, dude. Like it really is different. I just thought, well, we're all different, you know. Some people have blonde hair, some people have brown, kind of
yeah.
thing. That's
I
kind
think
of
what did it. I think what did it for me was I was just pretty much talking to the adults more than just hanging out with my peers and playing with my peers.
yeah. But once again, I just figured that was me just being different, you know.
Yeah,
It was just that was me being different, and that's the other thing that why like I always loved like my favorite character in all the Harry Potter series was Luna. I loved Luna. I totally identified with Luna. Just like she was completely out there and different from even from the others, but she was out in her own little world, you know. But she was there
yeah,
and she cared. She was there. Just nobody realized it, but she was always there. But yeah, I liked her. I loved her. I always identified with her. And
yeah.
I found out interestingly, I thought that was really strange that I would think that. And I started looking it up, and if you look up the lady who played that girl, she still gets letters to this day from autistic kids saying that they identify with that character.
Oh, damn.
Self-identified autistic kids. Yeah, she said that for whatever reason that character got identified. A lot of autistic people identified with that character, and she said it wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't written or that she knew of as an autistic character or anything else. She said it was. I think it was just different enough that it stood out, you know, and
Yeah,
ways that autistic people identified with. I did.
yeah.
Anyway,
Actually, I think another thing why I got put through Child Find was I had a bit of a speech delay.
oh, that's what they were trying to put my son in. I bet. Okay, mine was through Head Start. I wonder if that's the same thing or whatever. It was called Head
Uh
Start in Colorado.
oh, uh, what I sent you was the link for the Clark County School District.
Yeah. Okay. Um. I
I
don't.
sent it to you on Discord.
Okay. Let me see if I can pop that up. Is it in general?
DM.
Oh, boy. Oh, you're going into challenge mode, are you? Ah, crap. Why are you going
Do
into
you?
challenge mode? What the? This is embarrassing. You can't do this.
Do you want to pop it into general?
Yeah, yeah. And then I'll pretend like I found it.
Alright, there, I just popped it into general.
Fine. Visit site. Yeah, see, I found it all by myself.
Yep, good job.
All by myself. Child fine. So with my son, what happened was my son had a speech delay. We talked about this, but I think it's pertinent. Um, he could say certain words, but he slurred a lot, and I was just like, yeah, he just is having a hard time saying the words because I knew he understood, and so I just didn't care. And I not as in I didn't care about him, but I figured it would come along. And also, I knew that he had had a lot of seizures and so forth, and I figured that he literally might be delayed because of the seizure activity.
Yeah.
Um, in a sense, making him literally developmentally delayed in that sense. At least, even if his brain was developing as a neurotypical, delayed as in slower to go through those developments. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I may have been right. I just didn't realize that his brain was autistic. I had no idea.
Yeah, well, turns out it was.
Yeah, very much so. Um, anyway, so that's when, after having watched that, it was a movie about Helen Keller, and can't remember the lady who helps teach Helen Keller to communicate and so forth. Um, but in the way that she taught Helen Keller to speak and so forth, one example was like with the tissue. She held a tissue, so Helen could feel when she said, made the P sound, how it pushed the napkin up, that kind of thing.
Right.
So she could feel that and feel what she was talking about. Those kinds of things. So I realized that what she was doing was, and then how she would touch her throat, or even touch her hand to her throat, whatever, doing these different methods. And that's what I did with him. Everything I could think of, and the sounds that I could get him to make, we would repeat da 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 da, ma na na na, no, na na na, not ma, and getting those differentiations in there.
Yeah.
And then we would start putting them into words, particularly if I could catch a word that he was having a difficult time with, and we could figure out what part of speech he was having a difficult time with. We would drill it. And right now in this word, there's the word mission. Me, me, sh, n, 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 n. No, yeah, as many times as it took, and
Right.
then he put
Until
it
he
all
finally
together.
said the word
Yeah,
mission.
yeah, till he could put it together, and then we would work on the next one, and that's how he learned to speak. But we really did have to drill it, and it was a pain in the ass. It was annoying to him, but he realized the power of speech. He knew the power of speech.
Yeah.
He understood the power of speech. So even though it was annoying to go through the drills and stuff, he went through the drills with me and did them every single time because he realized the power of speech. It wasn't like he didn't understand, and he knew what he wanted to say, and he knew what the words were. He was just unable to say them. Now, I know you stutter, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially if I'm trying to say. And do you know what's funny? Yesterday, I think I stuttered while I was on the phone call with my boss.
well,
What's
mine's
funny is my mouse was going a lot faster than my brain was.
right. For me, my I will stop in the mid sentence a lot of times because I can't say a word, or a word won't come to my mind that should be there. So I will have to rephrase the sentence mid sentence and make it sound like
Yes.
I was being thoughtful or something. And I didn't realize, see, so much of this I didn't realize. And like, if you would have asked me why I did that, I would just say, well, I'm pausing to think. Well, no, I'm literally pausing because I can't talk at all. That's what was happening. But yes, I was, in fact, trying to think of what the hell I was going to say to replace what I couldn't say.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I
But
was
I
like,
didn't
uh,
realize that was a stutter. Anyway,
yeah. What's funny is I actually caught myself stuttering at the end there, and
mm-hmm.
I literally said out loud, "Sorry, I was kind of stuttering there because my mouth was going faster than my brain was trying to come up with the way I wanted to say it,
Yeah, that's
or something like that." But
that's funny. And once you do realize what a stutter is or what it can be, um, you start to
you're
catch it. And the funny thing
yeah,
is when you start talking about it, is when it makes it worse, which is hilarious. I know I caught
yeah.
I had you going one night. That was hilarious, and I'm still laughing about that. Because then I started making you do it, and then you really started doing it. Then I couldn't stop laughing, and then I was admitting it. I think, yeah, I'm laughing at you. Sorry.
It's all good. It's
Oops.
all fun and games.
But you know, it's happened to me a million times. Oh man.
Yeah, there. Yeah, fuck. There I go again. Yeah, there were times where I just pretty much caught myself, even in the not calm room. Sometimes.
All right, so this is he is running for president right now against Donald Trump. Or he might be an independent. Do you know what Kennedy is running as?
Independent, right?
I thought so. Independent, yeah. I don't think he's going to draw any votes, but
And they brought in, CDC brought in a Belgian uh, biostatistician and
I mean, at
epidemiologist
the same
called
time, you
Klaus
never know.
Fitzschraden, and he had to look at the thing that they looked at. This database is the top. It's all the patients of the top HMOs and the 10 top HMOs. So it has millions of patients in it.
okay. So if your future president, came from the Italian mob, what would he sound like?
And it has all of their vaccine records, but it
Probably
also
having
has all their
somewhat of an
subsequent
Italian
medical
accent.
claims. So you can do a cluster analysis, and
And you can do a cluster analysis, okay?
you can see, if he got the
Oh,
DTP
jeez.
vaccine here, is he more likely to be
Yeah,
buying
that pretty much
insulin
sounds like it.
syringes for diabetes 5 years later? So it's a really good tool for
Really, I'm not. I'm not from New Jersey. I'm not. I'm not at all.
of figuring out causal links between certain exposures and later medical claims. And they looked at kids who they were suspected at that time, that the CDC suspected internally, at the vaccine program. They had gone from the 3 vaccines that I took as a kid to 72 vaccines. And all of a sudden, you had epidemics of all these chronic diseases. So food allergies suddenly appeared around 1989. Peanut.
Okay, so because people were being held, like my aunt who had polio, because kids were not getting polio and so forth. Now all of a sudden, that means that people are getting autism, because people who now are not getting polio and dying from things like measles or rubella. Um,
Completely preventable diseases.
yeah, all these diseases that probably these that maybe these people are autistic too. Hmm.
Allergies should
Actually, if you think about it, probably that is true that a lot of those people were autistic because we have a higher propensity to have a difficult time with autoimmune diseases for whatever reason. There's an autoimmune,
Autoimmune.
yeah, there's some kind of autoimmune connection ish thing, relationship ish type thing. I don't want to go say it's related specifically, but we do know that there's something in the works there between the two, if that makes sense.
Okay.
stuff that I don't.
So
I never.
Never.
so it would make sense if all these kids who are getting these autoimmune things like measles, mumps, rubella, um, polio, whatever, if all those things are autoimmune and
Auto.
all
Not you're saying autoimmune here. It's
it's,
autoimmune.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, thank you.
That's
Autoimmune. If they're all
yeah.
autoimmune diseases,
Yeah. Sorry, I was just kind of getting nit.
thank
I
you.
was kind of getting caught on that there.
Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. People are being like, what do you mean? What did they hear? What did he hear? Does he have any idea what he's talking about? No, of course not. Um, but if you have all these people that are surviving these diseases that have a propensity to kill autistic people, well, that would make sense. Like if you look it up, believe it or not, um, COVID was found to have if you were autistic, had a third more likelihood to pass from COVID.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah,
It's funny. I've had COVID a few times, and here I am still kicking it.
yep. I probably had it 4 times. Now I've got POTS now, which is basically the same thing as long COVID. So I mean, I had POTS before I got COVID, before all that stuff. It's just that after having COVID, the POTS has gotten to the point where now I can barely move. I can barely even walk. It's bad. Uh,
Yeah,
I try to do
but
something.
yeah. For me, I've had COVID. I think like 3 or 4 times, and here I am still standing.
Was it bad or was it
No, it
worse?
wasn't. It was just cold symptoms for me.
Yeah, and for me, I wouldn't have actually even known it necessarily if the family all didn't have it and we didn't all get tested because I just felt wore out. But the thing is a lot of time with
That's also how I felt as well. But I just thought I had the common cold.
I didn't even think that. I just figured I was depressed because
Oh,
depression can make me like really want to sleep hard too. So if I just sleep 3 or 4 days or whatever, or want to sleep 3 or 4 days, that could be depression, or it could be me fighting something off. I don't know. But at those particular times, the whole family ended up getting tested, and yeah, everybody had COVID. So,
damn.
I just messed with this thing. I just messed with this a thing on TikTok, so it would leave me alone. I answered questions and everything, and it's like it still was trying to kick me off, going, "Oh, you're not interacting with me."
I know.
TikTok, TikTok is the whiny one of the bunch. Okay. So anyway, here. This is Kennedy. This is of the Kennedy dynasty, one of the Kennedys, and his radical thoughts on on autism and COVID.
Never heard of anybody who had this stuff as a kid. All these neurological disorders, ADD,
Didn't update you.
ADHD,
You
speech
think that
delay, language
autism was
delay,
a
tics,
disease?
Tourette syndrome,
What's that?
Uh, doesn't RFK Jr. think autism is a disease?
Oh yeah, that's what he's talking about right here, I think.
narcolepsy,
Fuck.
ASD, autism. Autism went from
It's not a disease, it's just a
1 in
disability.
10,000 for 2,500, 1 in
It disables
2,500 to
people.
1 in 10,000, depending on the studies. In my generation, 70-year-old men, a 70-year-old man, the amount of
Well, yeah, it
autism,
does disable
full-blown
people. There's
autism
some
of
good
people
things
my
as
age.
well
I
that comes with
literally have
autism,
never
right?
met anybody my age with full-blown autism.
He's like, how many people do you know that are 70 years old with full blown autism? Okay, first of all, the median age for autistic people to die is like 39. That's like the median age. And most of that has to do with children. Like there's, I think I got 2 or 3 kids that died just from this last week or so that I'm got here to queued up to talk about today. Um, but you have a lot of kids, autistic kids, who have accidents. Um, you have incidents with the police that causes quite a bit of unlifing. But the
Yeah,
number one cause is what happened to my son, and that's suicide, adult suicide. That's the number one cause of um, autistic adults to pass. But I mean, if you take a look at the 70-year-old population, there's going to be very, very few autistics that made it, that survived to 70. And if of those that did, if they're 70 years old, they probably learned to mask very well in their life. They had to
yeah,
have. If they're not diagnosed, they have learned to that to mask it very, very well, so that most people
take
wouldn't
my
even think about it.
yeah, take my dad for example. I'm not sure if he is autistic or not, but if he is, then he's masking it pretty damn well.
And nobody's ever going to know, probably.
Yeah,
You know, and he's not going to get worse at masking as he gets older. That's just going to be, he's going to be set in his ways, so to speak. That's how how he is.
yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's kind of interesting. But yeah, Dad, how many 70-year-olds that have full-fledged autism? Okay, what's full-fledged autism? Is that a I got that half-fledged autism? Is
Something like that.
the half-fledged autism? Okay.
And today,
I
it's
don't know, man.
Today.
1 in every 10,000 of
Do you,
us.
do you think?
But with my kids, it's 1 in every 22 boys, 1 in every
Wow.
34 kids. Something happened. And Congress
And it was actually funny the other
directed
day
the
that you were
EPA.
giving me tips on my bowling release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So imagine he's talking to some Italian, the Italian leader in France. So let me tell you what we're gonna do here. This would just be like mob, straight up mob, right?
Yeah.
Congress said to
No, we're gonna get Tony out of Congress, okay? Tony and well, his mama calls him Antonio.
EPA, tell us what year this epidemic started. And EPA came back and said it's a red line, 1989. So, there's a number of things that happened in 1989. But it's those diseases, all these autoimmune diseases suddenly appeared. I never knew anybody with juvenile
I'm curious
diabetes when
how
I
do you
was a
think
kid.
autistics would handle in the corporate world?
Oh, geez, I don't know. There's no telling. There's no telling. That one would be hard. I have no idea.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
mean, I personally work in corporate.
You would?
No, I currently work in a corporate environment
Oh, yeah. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. No, not fun.
in the network operations center.
Right. Yeah, not fun at all. And they're definitely all about appearances for sure.
typical pediatrician would see
Well,
one
not to
case of
knock.
juvenile diabetes in his.
What's that?
We're all about not the network operations center. We're all about troubleshooting shit.
Right. No, I mean at the corporate world, in the corporate side.
Oh, like sales and shit like that.
Yeah, then it's all about appearances. It's all about
Yeah,
appearances.
Career.
you would find me dead before I work a sales job.
Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walk through his office door has it. Something happened. Why isn't anybody talking about this? Rheumatoid arthritis
Now my
suddenly
nice cushy
exploded.
knock
Lupus.
job, I love it.
Right. Because you're doing the technical stuff.
Oh yeah,
All these autoimmune diseases, Crohn's disease, these exotic diseases.
and on top
Nobody
of
ever heard of
that,
when I was
actually
a kid.
yesterday,
Now they're
shit got
everywhere. And
plenty
so
of
you
shit
have
broke in the network to the point where I pretty much did not take a lunch break.
Hmm. You think it's because of
The
heat?
network? No, not my network. The TPX network or the Telepacific network. Plenty of shit.
That's what I'm saying. You think it's because of the heat?
No, there was a couple of 10 gig links that broke. One of them was just having some weird issues with Aurelion. The other one was actually a fiber cut in the Dallas area.
Oh, damn.
Then we had some other issues where customers were saying that they were having shitty audio on their phone calls and calls were dropping.
Huh. Well, you know what? I've never really had that kind of issue. The only weird issues I've had, and my wife, I don't know if she believes me still, but sometimes I won't get a text message from her for like 12 hours, 18 hours.
Like, almost like it's stuck in some queue somewhere.
I guess. I mean, it has to be somewhere because it is like
Who's
when she's like texting me, help me get groceries, and then it shows up 18 hours later, and I'm like, yeah. So I go, oh, you went to the store? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, then I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, she thinks that
alert.
you're ignoring her when you text
Uh-huh.
send,
She
but
gets
at the
all
same
mad.
time,
Get-
4 in the morning you wake up to that text message and
oh, wait, what?
she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right,
Did
let's
she
see
get
what
to see
Timothy has to say
firsthand?
here. What's that?
Just get to see, did your wife get to see firsthand that happen, or?
Yeah, oh, yeah, she's seen it a couple of times because I've been like, what the hell?
Allergic diseases, both
Oh,
neurological disease and autoimmune diseases, and obesity suddenly appear around 1989. And so there's a number of things that could be blamed for it. Well, the CDC thought it may be the vaccine schedule. Let's check. So they looked at one vaccine, which is the hepatitis B vaccine. They looked at kids who had gotten it in the first 30 days, and then they looked at kids who had not gotten it in 30 days. In other words, kids who got it later or didn't get it at all. And they compared these two groups. And among the kids who got it in the first 30 days, there was I think it was a 10,000% increased risk for a later subsequent autism diagnosis if you got in the first 30 days.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful with this. Where there are 12 kids in the study, because that will change the statistics drastically if it's a small case group like that. And the CDC is known for doing very small case studies. Um, but we don't even know. I don't even know that that's necessarily. I don't know who they is here specifically. He's saying they, but I don't know. He was last talking about the CDC, but I don't know if they is who the CDC, if who they is for sure anymore.
Wow.
So they immediately knew what was causing it. Oh,
Right.
I know it was 11.35, so it's an 1,135% increased risk. And so they knew immediately, it's called a relative risk of 11.35. If you have a relative risk of 2, causation is presumed. This was 11.35. The link between cigarettes, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day for 20 years, and getting lung cancer is a relative risk of 10. This was
You've got to be
11.35. So they
shitting.
knew what it was. And then they had an emergency meeting that they called. They didn't want to do it on CDC campus because they thought it would be susceptible to freedom of information requests. So they did it in this remote retreat center called Simpsonwood, which is a Methodist retreat center on the wooded banks of the Chattahoochee River, in a remote part of Georgia. And they had all of the big pangerums from the vaccine industry, from the pharmaceutical industry, from the universities, who are the ones who test the vaccines, from NIH, CDC, FDA, the World Health Organization, the European Medicals Agency, and they all got together for 2 days to talk about this study. The first day, and somebody made a transcript of it.
Hey, King, do you realize what he's talking about? He's saying that the CDC went to go have a secret meeting at a ski resort. If that's what if I'm getting that right, my internet to pop up too. It's trying. Okay, but bye bye bandwidth. Yes, exit. Okay. Are we back?
The first day, and somebody made a transcript of it.
Okay.
And that transcript was given to me. And I published excerpts from it. But the first day, they're all talking about, oh my God, the lawyers are going to come after us. Nobody can deny this. This is bulletproof. There's no way to argue with this. This is real science. We can't, what are we going to do? The second day, they spent talking about how to hide it from the American public. And I published these things. Oh, then, I took a lot of heat at that point.
Yes, because the CDC has a strong interest in wanting to hide it from the American public that vaccines cause autism because yes, it's all yes, I believe it.
But I was like, I'm not
Yes, it's on the internet.
against vaccines.
I was just watching Rosie O'Donnell yesterday, and she is so out there now. It's really sad. Whoever was interviewing her was irresponsible to. I can't remember who the guy was, but it was irresponsible to even interview her because she just was not with it, and it was pretty obvious. Yeah, it was pretty sad actually.
Vaccinated all my kids. I was fully vaccinated. I just think they ought to be tested, and we ought to know what the risks are and
look what it did to his voice, man.
what the outcomes are. And there are.
Wait a minute. He's not autistic. He just said he was fully vaccinated, but he's not autistic. See, I'm debunking his story already. Darn it.
people who are injured by vaccines.
He would have, like, if he was autistic, then at least I could be like, well, dude's autistic. You know?
There's no question of that.
He's a survivor.
He's an
autism survivor. If you're vaccinated and you're not autistic, you're an autism survivor.
God damn it.
There's a vaccine court that pays them off. It's paid off billions of dollars to people who have died or severely injured. And what I think we should do is not tell those people they don't exist, but we ought to acknowledge it, and we ought to be doing the studies to reduce the number of people. Oh, I don't want to take away people's if somebody wants to get vaccinated, they should be able to get it. But they also ought to know everything there is, what the risks are and what the benefits are.
Okay, like every vaccine we have does literally exactly that. It tells you what the risk and the benefits are. Literally, there's a whole sheet of paper you get that tells you all that stuff. And there's even websites that can give you even more information. Right from the same place, right on those things, they give you little, what do you call it, capocha or whatever the heck they're called, the things. Come on, dude, really?
If you'd say that, something that's completely reasonable, you're called an anti-vaxxer, and you're marginalized and silenced and vilified and made to look like, you've committed this kind of heresy that is dangerous for the whole society.
Well, then I cannot call you an anti-vaxxer because you have not said one reasonable thing yet. So if that's what you call a reasonable person, then you are not an anti-vaxxer.
Damn.
That's what they did.
Yeah, ever since 2020, it's the confidence that the people have in government is just diminished at a.
Yeah, well,
I've never seen
never seen
distrust happen so fast.
No, because people could see what was actually evident for a long time, but everything became amplified during COVID. I also think people shouldn't be forced to get a vaccine. And if you really think about it, most Americans don't think that either. For example, right now, CDC is recommending a 9th booster.
Who interviewed the white hat hacker? I don't know who this interviewer dude is, but I've seen RFK. I've talked about him a couple of times now because he's been known to be anti-vax. He supposedly dropped out of the race, but he's now, I guess, in the race again, which again was, one of those things. He supposedly dropped all this BS about the anti-vax stuff, but now this is done just 5 days ago, right? Wasn't it 5 days ago? Yeah. So right here, 5 days ago. 5 days ago.
Oh, damn.
So it isn't like this is old news here. This guy is still running for office.
Booster.
RFK Jr.?
9th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's recommended that everybody get their 9th booster.
He's part of the Kennedy dynasty. He's one of the Kennedys.
There's fewer than 10% of Americans who are getting it. So 90% of Americans have lost faith in CDC. Do you think that, we should do?
Yes, Trevor is actually calling through Discord. And is on live through Discord.
What the Biden administration did, which is to tell everybody, if you don't get that 9th booster, you can't work. You should be
and I'm on my phone.
You shouldn't be able to fly on an airplane. You shouldn't be able to walk into a public building. Your rights should be curtailed. You shouldn't be able to play professional sports. And
he's trying to equivocate, like, sporting events with stuff that saves everyone's lives. The thing is when you get immunized, you're not only being responsible for yourself, you're being responsible for other people. I had a guy that early in COVID, he's like, well, that's my choice. I was like, so if you get COVID because you don't mask and then you pass it on, and that person passes it on to 10 other people, and those 10 people pass it on to 10 other people, all those people die because of you. That's okay because it's your choice. It's your choice to murder me. You didn't like it when I said that. Well, I'm not saying that. Yeah, you are. If it's your choice to infect me and to kill me. No, we didn't talk for a couple of years after that. I'm okay, and I talk to him now, but yeah, I don't think he's ever going to cross me again. That's for sure. There's actually a book by Devin Price called Unlearning Shame. Devin Price. That name sure does sound familiar. Why do I know Devin Price? Wait, is that an autistic writer that wrote that book? And if it's the same person I'm thinking of, they're like a pro ABA person, if I'm correct. Yes, wrote Unmasking Autism. Okay, yeah, that Devin Price dude, he's out there. I don't, I don't like his stuff from what I've seen. But I'd have to learn more about it to know for sure because I haven't really studied Devon Price exactly. But yeah, that whole I don't know.
Shamed. You shouldn't be able to fly on an airplane. You shouldn't be able to walk into a public building. Your rights should be curtailed. You shouldn't be able to play professional sports. Does anybody?
And none of that. No, nobody's saying any of that. I don't get what he's trying to do here. What's he trying to equivocate? You have any idea what he's trying to do here, Trevor?
No, I'm not watching the stream.
We should be doing that. I don't think most Americans believe that people should be compelled to get a ninth vaccine, and which means that they don't trust CDC anymore.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.
Yeah, I don't know who this dude is. I do not know who that guy is at all.
Pennsylvania state troopers just kicked off a new initiative that will help officers navigate interactions with people with autism.
It's a colorful card that aims to improve autism awareness. Megan Schiller asked advocates and state police about the idea.
When that view in the rear view mirror shows flashing lights, it's...
So I when I first saw this scared me because it said a card for autistic people to give to cops, and I was just waiting for something to indicate that an autistic person might be aggressive or whatever, or that kind of thing. And luckily, they did not do that here. I was very impressed.
It's a moment often filled with high stress and anxiety. Mother and autism advocate Jamie Upshaw knows what her 13-year-old son would do.
The individual, most of the time, is in fight or flight. My baby's going to run. Not because he did something wrong, because he's scared.
Many with autism are fearful that police could not understand or misinterpret what they say or how.
And they do. We know that the violence rate against autistic people with police is exponentially increased. It's what, like 3 times? Autistic people are 3 times more likely to be assaulted by police or murdered by police. than Autistic people. That's crazy. 30% more, or not 30%, 3 times more. Crazy.
How they behave. Lieutenant Adam Reed said this new card should give an officer pause.
An individual with autism.
Let's see. Let's see. Please be patient with me. Loud noises may bother me. I may not like to be touched. Use calm and direct voice. What? I may not be verbal and may need pictures to communicate. I may not respond to verbal commands. Please keep verbal commands simple. Then it has contact information and so forth. So the good thing is that there's no sentence there that indicates that the autistic person's going to be violent, and that's very good. Every card I've ever seen, other than what I've written, and this one now, I've always had some kind of thing that cops could use against autistic people, essentially.
May present to law enforcement as perhaps something that the trooper or officer may mistake as being disobedient or willingly not listening to the instructions.
A bright, colorful card that simply reads, I have autism, my name is blank, along with some reminders for law enforcement.
Some of those include loud noises may bother me, use a calm and direct voice, please keep verbal commands simple, or I may not respond to verbal commands.
Upshaw, with Autism Urban Connections, thinks this card could work for some, but tells KDKA her black son, autistic or not, will not be reaching for anything.
You know, it could be a great idea. However,
yeah, what happens?
I just think more.
That's another thing too. Is what happens when the first autistic person reaches